like a little kid, man.
Yeah, honestly, dude. Yeah. That's what it's about.
I saw those videos. I didn't realize he was really just prancing around.
He was
in it.
He's a big time frolicker.
Yeah. He's such a frolic.
It reminded me so much of being there at the Electric Forest with him.
Yeah. I've just seen him just not transform, but just thrive. You know what I mean? And he just sees his kindness and his charisma just get rewarded every day.
Yeah, remember we were at the El Patio finale, which was the last night at this big Airbnb, and it got packed. There was over 100 people there, and packed in there. And then Shay and I were talking. We're at the end of the day, this we did this as a team. Yeah. But if you had to peg this happening, which is insane right now, to one person, it's Mike Malus.
Yeah. And you remember what his response was to that?
He was like,
"Well, man, I don't even live here." The most perfect response.
Oh man, he's so fucking
I don't even live here, man.
I'm not even here, dude. Yeah, I mean, in terms of in their element, you fucking jumping around, zipping around at parties and social events, just networking. Yeah. You seem so, you're just you're loving it.
I'm at home.
Each conversation is a hit of heroin, and you're let's bang this in.
I was in my own world at that second Lost Boys party, but Ian's man, he's been talking to people the whole time, finding an after party, just making connections, meeting people. It's
dude, I'm telling you, every day it's crazy because every day I wake up to 5 to 10 Instagram requests that are some people I don't know. I know, but I'm how did they find me through other people's posts? Yeah. I think a lot of them were through Isabel's posts, people from Lost Boys, but it just gives you a good indication of man, you meet people so quick.
Yes.
And we've been deprived of this, and and because of the sheer number of people that come in and out of here so quick, it's just it's just a hyperbolic chamber of energy.
Yeah, it's pre-qualified people because we're in the middle of a pandemic, and there's a decent portion of the population that obviously doesn't have the means to travel, but is petrified to travel. Yeah. So it's people that have I guess well-educated, and they have decent careers. So they're relatively smart and cool and competent and charismatic. And then they also aren't afraid of of COVID. So they're more spontaneous, open to experience, fuck it, let's make risks and have fun kind of lifestyle. Yeah. And then it just creates this incubator of this crazy energy. And then it's the collective group, that the Gestalt thing where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So it creates its own energy.
Yeah, I was talking to my friend, and she's like, what do you think? And we do music together. She's like, what do you think that you're meeting such cool? Because I was telling her that I feel it took me a long time in Toronto to meet all these vibey people. Where in here it happened a month or a couple weeks. Yeah. And I told her, I think what I think it is here is the people that are here, they are a collective of all around the world. Yeah. But the people that are traveling right now, they're open-minded. Yeah. You know, they're adventurous.
They've done psychedelics.
I mean,
if
they haven't, they will. If they haven't, they will.
Are you dumb? Every time you talk to somebody, it's mushrooms.
You have psilocybin extract. You know what I mean? Here, take this droplet. 3, 1. 2,
down.
3, but it's just a microdose.
Pull out the spoon.
Yeah. That does remind me.
You say microdose or microdot?
We're talking about concentrated amounts of LSD.
Yeah.
It does remind me of the reason I moved to Toronto in the first place, though, is because in Bradford, my hometown, the amount of opportunity that happens in one night in Toronto happens an entire year in Bradford. Yeah. It's here now, it just continues to be exponential, the amount of opportunity that's happening.
Yeah, because people in Toronto, I feel it's an amazing city with so much opportunity and so much infrastructure and wealth, but people's willingness to drop their ego and be open-minded and and not go with the that media stream it's not. And here I feel it's the sheer opposite, where people are doing the opposite of what that media stream says, and they're here for
very
adventure. And the biggest thing is these are people that have been me in general have been deprived of this for the better part of and Toronto has some degree of freedom, but there's countries like Germany and Australia that have just been in sheer lockdown. So people come here and it's kind of
no, I think it's kind of
so primal.
Yeah, man.
It's kind of man. It's like an oasis in the desert where there's wars going on in the deserts way back when in the Middle East, and then they'd have these oases where no one with swords or weapons could be armed, and women and children could be safe, and it's an oasis from all the wars, and they would honor that. And it's Santa Teresa is kind of an oasis on the world right now, where it's outside of all the chaos, and it's just its own entity just chilling there.
Yeah. Mexico kind of reminded me of that too.
That's why it's been so like when we got to Mexico, we went out one night and we were just so happy to be out and around people, like hundreds of people just like together, and we just walking in the streets, hundreds of people.
No, you're right. My first night here, I went to a full moon party. And when we got there, it was like, oh, yeah, these people have paid off the cops. That's why they're charging like $40 cover to get in. We get up there, and it's like music's being played at like 10%. And like, yeah, the cops are like, they were everywhere. Like, yeah, the cops are surrounding us. I'm like, because clearly they didn't get paid off, but somebody did.
Well,
but
they just
like
said that. They just said that to justify. That was their sales pitch to pay $40.
Pretty much. Good. I mean,
that's a good sales pitch.
Good sales
yeah,
pitch.
we paid off the cops.
Yeah.
And then they actually paid the cops to come early, shut it down, so they
didn't have to have
Maybe.
a party.
Yeah, to have a party.
I mean, I choose not to. I mean, I know what you're saying, but I choose not to believe that. There's no musicians,
No,
you know.
It does help though. There's only one dirt road in this town.
Yeah, for sure. But the thing,
same people.
I was looking at people, and a lot of people were like kind of upset and cheese. And like one girl even asked me like, "Why are you like so happy and chipper?" You know what I mean? Like the party's about to end. And I'm like, "How dare you ask me why I'm so happy?"
What's your problem?
You close your mouth before you talk, okay? But no, I
close your mouth before you talk.
Yeah.
That's pretty lit.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you talk to me, step on.
Close your
fucking
mouth and then talk.
Take that screwdriver, jab it in your eardrum.
Yeah. But I told her, I'm like, you don't understand. It's been like almost 2 years since I've seen this many people together, just like having a good time.
Everyone's oh man,
yeah.
You know,
it's like
just happy to be here, man.
No, it's literally like if like it's obviously not, it's less dramatic than the metaphor, but having all the wars and you're like a soldier in the war and it's like chaos and everything's like shitty and people complaining, and then you like come here and everyone's just like chilling.
Yeah. But just like for me, I think the reason why I love music, and for me it was like I went into music, I don't know if you guys knew, is I used to shuffle, like shuffle dancing.
Nice.
Music.
I've seen you shuffle, man.
Yeah. So then me and my friends started to host shuffle parties at my friend's building on Oneida Crescent. Fun fact, name of our music company is Oneida, but that's where it all started. And then our friend brought, she's like, instead of playing, what's up?
HQ,
my ground, the ultimate ground zero.
Nice.
So my friend, she's like, oh, instead of the speaker, can I bring my DJ equipment? And she started DJing these parties. And then it's so funny because we all were infatuated with dance. And she brought this DJ equipment. And you could see like every party, we were just like, instead of surrounding the dance floor, we're surrounding the DJ equipment.
Migrated over there.
Yeah, because it's the ultimate transfer of energy. Like when you're dancing, you're transferring energy like to yourself and others around you. But when you're playing the music, you kind of you're the source. You control everything. And that's ultimately when it comes down to, is like being around those people again. I could like feed off their energy, and that's the reason why I do this. Is like because energy cannot be destroyed; it can only be transferred.
Right.
And the feeling of being able to like take that vibe and give it to people is like, and that's the same feeling of being around 500 people. It's like I can take their vibe and it becomes kind of my vibe.
Yeah,
you know
it's like something we've talked about a bunch is the term a collective effervescence.
Yeah,
where it's when a group of people do the same activity and it creates like a collective consciousness, and then it's like usually rhythmic and repetitive, and then everyone's kind of engaged in the same thing, and it creates like this broadening where it's like your ego as like, I'm identified with this. Now you literally start to identify with a bigger energy, like you literally identify, because you're not identified just with yourself, of a greater energy. And it's just like it's so enjoyable. And then like it's just you can't get that on a Zoom call.
No, it's true, man. Dude, at a festival one time, me and my friend do this thing where
touch people.
No, definitely not.
Can't even lick them.
At a liquor, I don't even know her.
Liquor. Inside jokes on the podcast.
Yeah,
What's good, baby?
What's up? You already know the vibes.
Also, Santa Teresa is a beach town in Costa Rica.
That's right.
Yep.
But one of my favorite things that me and my friends do at a festival, when the beat is very spicy, we'll start like stirring this noodle pot. And then people will just like, come add a little bit of spice, come add some chopped stuff in the noodle pot.
And everyone's just building it.
Yeah. And then there's one girl at the party, and she was looking at us like, all weird, like, what the fuck are you guys doing? You know, like just judging us. And then to your point of the collective mindset, then so many people from around us got into, you add some this. It's literally like 8 people stirring. I mean, 18
you're creating
chefs,
a compelling illusion.
You know, 18 salters, 4, what's his name? Salt Bay peppers. And eventually we told her, I'm like, just a little bit of peppers. And she eventually just gave up and was like, you know what? Collective mindset. And she salt bayed in it. That's it. That's
Salt bay on it.
Yeah, collective mindset is everything, baby.
Resistance.
That's right. Oh shit. You said that. The dumbest thing I ever heard.
It reminds me of like being in drama class, and you do what's it called when it's like all ad lib?
Yeah.
What's that called?
All ad lib.
Yeah, when you're like doing like a scene, like it's improv. That's
Oh,
what it is.
improv.
It's like you're just like
Comedy?
you're just like improving
Yeah.
the whole
Yeah,
thing.
Yeah, there's some. Yeah, exactly. And then getting everyone to contribute to it, and then it's a joint project instead of just someone else's set out for you.
Yeah.
That reminds me of when we were at El Patio and we were all hanging out.
Oh yeah.
You were on the floor laughing because you put the hat on me, and I was like, I am Lord Voldemort.
Yeah.
And then like everyone was popping in with different like, parts of the joke, and it just like kept building on itself and making it bigger.
Yeah, we should have done a sorting hat ceremony.
That would have been fun. It's not too late, dude. We can still do a skit.
More than Lord Voldemort when you yelled
Gryffindor! Gryffindor!
Oh man, fucking bad Dobby.
Yeah, man.
Oh man.
Yeah, when me and Emily became witchy and bitchy.
Hey.
You won't go get that broomstick.
Yo, I saw the video of that. You jumped so high. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
So you were just like walking around.
What was
you're walking around El Patio's party, and somehow the witch hat came out again, and you put it on.
Yeah.
And then who said it?
Elric.
Elric
was like, are you actually a witch? But where's your broomstick? You won't go get a broomstick.
You won't go get a broomstick.
Yeah. He didn't tell me to jump off like a 4-foot platform, but you know, sometimes the moment just calls you.
Sometimes you're flying high.
Yeah, exactly.
Hiya.
Yeah. So you've been freestyling these days, bro?
I know you have.
Yeah.
No.
Did you have any other ideas of places you would want to go, or was it just like Septadrisa because Mike was here, or how did that end up happening?
I think before I got Mike's survey, I also talked to my buddy Marco Polo, and he's the reason why I'm probably gonna stay till the first week of April because he's gonna come visit me.
Oh wow!
I also asked him, I'm like, where should I go? And he also was like Santa Teresa. I was like, oh, should I go like to other cities? He said stay in Santa Teresa, and then if you want to travel, go a week here, go a week there, but be in Santa Teresa because that's where like it's open.
That's where the vibe is.
At that time, I was looking online and said that there's beach curfews of 2 p.m. Travel restrictions of like only license plates with like ending in odd numbers can travel every other day, and then the other days only even numbers. So
man, talk about some dumb shit.
Dumb shit. And he said all the dumb shit. He said all the dumb
just
shit.
making shit up.
I love how they're like, we think that's stupid, and they're like, trust the science. The science. Fucking
both sides are saying trust the science. So
sounds made up.
It's just science, dude.
It's just it's just facts. Everyone says as they don't say facts.
Yeah.
So your buddy was here, or your buddy recommended it. Mike was here.
Yeah, Mike was here.
That's a pretty compelling illusion to come hang out with Mike.
I know.
Yeah. What day did you get here? In the January?
No, beginning of February. Like February 6th.
What?
6th.
You got here on the 6th? You only got here 2 days before us?
Right before us.
Maybe it was a little bit more. Maybe it was like 2nd or 3rd, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still, I thought you'd been here.
Yeah, because when I first met you, I just like felt like you were so integrated already.
Yeah. It seemed like you already
in this town. Like
it seemed like you already like met like everyone.
Yeah,
it was like doing this and this. What the fuck?
You been walking by. Yo, what's up, Shay?
I know. I thought you'd been here for
riding on ATVs. Like, hey.
Yeah, I know. I meet people so quickly. I'm an asshole.
Guy integrated. Asshole.
Yeah, I'm an asshole.
Why do you say that?
Because I am what I eat. Shit.
Hey.
No, it's so easy in the city.
Can't wait to post this clip on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Make sure you tag me, alright?
I am what I eat.
Well,
I am what I eat.
Fucking tagging your company, all your notes.
I am what I eat.
All his clients.
Yeah. This isn't a PG podcast, right?
No.
Okay, good.
So we started with psychedelics. We're ending with psychedelics.
Psychedelics on God.
On God.
So talk to us about that. Like, how do you look at meeting people, and how, a lot of people would say meeting new people isn't that easy.
Yeah.
And you make it seem like it's just like part of your nature.
Yeah. I think part of that is I grew up an only child, so I mean meeting people was like I don't have siblings, so meeting people was part of like having those like brothers and sisters in life. And again, it comes to that like feeding off people's energy kind of perspective, and where it goes a step further is like I don't just like feed off just their instant energy or like just a night, is like getting to know people, seeing what inspires them. I think that's the biggest thing for me is I like to know what people's mindset is. Even like when you were asking me questions, or you were telling me about scenarios where with your story, I wanted like what inspired that, what did you do when you got up that morning, what led up to that. So because I think the process in itself and the psyche like really explains how that person, like what reaches them, and that to me, kind of that curiosity really gets to me, and like that wanting to connect with that person, understanding their journey is what really like kind of drives it home.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's like it stems from curiosity.
Yeah, like be a chameleon. How do I vibe out to other people's journeys? You know what I mean? And I like to be a kind of person who I know a little bit about a lot of things.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And part of that is like people. I want to know a little bit about a lot of people, all the people.
Yeah, I mean, it's been like in terms of it being so fun to get to know people. It's been such a pleasure, man. Like we were talking, like we're traveling like with our best friend.
To that.
So we're traveling with our best friend, and we're traveling through places here and there. And we thought like it wasn't even thinking about really making like any like good time, long like friends. Like maybe like we meet some buddies for a night, we go out, and that'd be like the end. But like we're definitely gonna be friends forever.
Forever.
You know what I mean? Forever, like it's just on like no doubt.
Forever and ever.
Yeah. You know? So it's just like it wasn't. I literally like that wasn't on the radar of like a possibility.
Yeah.
Like if I thought about it being a possibility, I'd be like, I guess maybe it could happen, but it just wasn't even
that's a good
an expectation.
Yeah.
There was zero expectation.
I haven't had this experience since I've been traveling.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're the first.
A lot of really great.
You're the first
like
new friend that we've made.
Yeah,
I would say you're the best new friend I've met in a while.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll even mention it last night because there is a difference between like I've met friends.
Yeah.
I've met friends, but then there's like people you want to go to battle with.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. There's like I have the saying with my friends back home, either like you're fam or not fam. That doesn't mean like you're not my friend, but it just means you're like
it's a different tier.
I love you to my goddamn core. Like I would lay over a puddle.
Yeah, the best way to describe one of the best. I think the way to describe it is our friend Nate, who's friends with our friend Abdu. We were talking about like how they like love each other and they're friends so much. And one of the like the metrics was like if they were in a foreign country and they didn't have insurance and they got a hospital bill, they'd be like, well, how much money do I need to send them there?
Yeah,
exactly. Like that type of like it's no question.
Yeah, exactly. You know?
Jim Rohn said he had one friend where if he knew he was like same situation, if he was in a foreign country in a jail somewhere and they said you only have one call, who's it gonna be? And he said he would call that guy because he wouldn't ask any questions.
Yeah, exactly.
That's when you know someone's like intent and heart so deeply that like maybe their judgment fucked up in that situation, but like overall their heart's in the right place, their intent's in the right place. I love this person.
Yeah. Like it's just the unconditional.
Yeah. That's when you know you can speak highly of someone else. Like when you're having a conversation and someone says, "What do you think about this person?" and then your instant reaction is, "Good dude, great guy, good heart." Like that's the kind of people you want to be spending time with.
Yeah. And that's where it builds because we all connect to different people in different ways. And all three of us like resonate with a lot of people, but then probably have our own person that like we really, someone like really resonates with us. And that when someone has the conviction, like if Jonathan said to me, like this guy, like salted with like one of the dudes, one of the fam, like I wouldn't need to ask any more questions. And like that vouch would be like instant trust and communication between me and that person. And then as we get like more friends, like it's like the essence, I guess, of networking where it's mutual vouching for each other.
Yeah.
Where it's like, and then you're just, because it takes time, like, for example, like it's been a month of like doing drugs and partying and like in the most unbelievable experiences to get to this level of like trust. But now if you told me someone that I could trust, I wouldn't need to spend a month with them to be able to be on working terms with them now.
And you know, that's funny because that was Max. I met Max at that party in Kabuya and I instantly knew, I'm like, this guy's like heart's in the right place. We talked after. I ended up seeing him at Taco Corner and I saw a buddy of mine there. I was by myself, and he asked me to join the table, and he was always a good dude. And then who shows up? Max. Nice. I'm like, oh, you know Max, and then me and him had like a little 1-2, and I actually like got his information that time, and I was like, yo, I'll let you know about future things. And I'm like, was my instinct right about him? So I was really fucked up. You know, it was like 6, 7 in the morning. I know it was. That's when my instinct is like the sharpest. Like
Spliff Daddy. This guy
Spliff
can
Daddy,
roll spliffs all day, baby.
So he came to that party, and then when we kicked everybody out, it was just like the family, right? And he was the only person there that we didn't like no. And then Mike and Heather were kind of like, who's this guy? You know, because he does look like a local. You know what I mean? I'm like, I vouch for him. He's gonna stay. But I also told him, and which he always repeats, that you and only you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I trust you. I don't know, but because I vouch for him, he's staying. And look, he's like he's a brother now. He's a homie.
Yo, this background is kind of sus.
Yeah. If you move your head, it becomes less sus. Move your head. No,
no, I think that makes it more sus. I start moving my head.
No, move to the left. There's a swan here, bro.
I don't see how that's gonna make it less weird.
You should go in the crew, dude. Look at this towel.
You think a swan towel with 3 dudes on a towel makes it less sus?
We can't make this.
At Kaza's end.
Yo, no, but if we could, it implicates the rest of the scene.
It kind of does.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's sink or swim with this stuff.
Yeah. Yo, hold on. It's missing something.
This guy's here. Can we talk about curating?
This guy is more. The guy who loves his style. He's not helping. Dude,
look at this.
Get this swan some swagger.
Look at this.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let's go.
That actually is tight.
Yeah,
that's a tight look.
He's this Swansky.
One of the things that like that I think about a lot is a concept that I learned from my men's weekend, and it's to be successful in a long-term relationship, you need to give a world-class fuck. Like you actually need to care. Like, you really need to give a fuck. And that's why it's the difference between it can last forever versus it just being temporary. Because if you don't care enough, then you won't sort through the problems, you won't be committed, all these reasons. And one of the things that I really admire about you is like you give a world-class fuck.
Yeah, dude.
Like you're really not helping the sus narrative.
Yo, this guy, he gives a world-class fuck everybody.
In the bed?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he means metaphorically. Just like he brings his A game, man.
Yeah, he really does.
Yeah, he just fucking cares, like sometimes I like don't try because I'm just like tired and I don't want to expend the energy, and it just seems like you're fucking on it, bro. He's got fucking reserves to spare.
Yeah, it's like what if I'm not gonna do it at like and give my whole heart? I don't see like the point in doing it. Like why show up and half-ass anything, right?
Yeah.
So and that's hard because like oh man, so much going on in this city.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm trying to learn is like that the whole balance principle is like if I commit to something and if I want to do something, be able to do it to its fullest. So because that takes precedence for me, I'll like lose out on sleep. I'll sometimes like miss other plans, which I hate because I don't want to commit to something and not make it. But if the thing that I'm doing is the thing that I'm doing, I'm gonna do it to like I will do it to 1,000%. Because here's the way I look at it is like if you don't do it 100%, or at least I feel like this way. If I don't do it 100%, it's like what. Ultimately, people are coming, and I want to leave like a lasting memory. And when everything is like, it's like a director of a movie. They'll just keep saying again, scene 7, scene 8. It has to be perfect because like when it's perfect, it creates that wow factor. Yeah. People can see when you're such a perfection, and you have all these little. It's not about the big things most of the time. It's all the little touches.
Cumulative of them.
Yeah.
You can't put it on the one grain of sand that makes the beach, but there's a lot of grains. Yeah, but together. That's what I was thinking when we stayed up the one night and watched the sunrise after we were coming down off the acid and then we were in the water. Just like really seeing how the ocean, the water is just like the tiniest water droplets on like accumulating on top of each other in like perfect symmetry and harmony. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Yeah, the first time I ever noticed like really you giving a world-class fuck was when you made those like peanut butter and banana sandwiches and you like drizzled the honey on it. Yeah. And that was just like one example of that getting extrapolated.
You're going in on that.
All these different areas of your life. And then it showed up again at that first El Patio party, which was one of my favorite parties.
Yeah, that
party was so fun. And just like you had the lights and you had the gear and you were like just like trying to fix things. You're like, hey, can you help me with this? And I was just like, and it's like that type of effort and care showed up for everybody. Showed up for everybody.
It makes tangible differences.
Yeah, man. I also look at it like if you're gonna host a party, if you're gonna host anything, like you're kind of in charge of people's fun, and it's like that's a position that has to be taken very seriously. And if you take it seriously, then people take you seriously, and when you re-invite them to things, when you tell them about stuff, there's just a certain level of like accountability, credibility, respect, and love for when you do things.
Yeah, you're creating your like when you talk about like something being like really good, your vouch has weight.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like that's where when you say what you mean and then you actually mean what you say, then that's all in alignment. So that it comes back to trust. So when you say this is going to be a good party, they're going to come.
Yeah,
that's
true, man. That's absolutely true.
It reminds me of Warren Buffett because he talks about like one of the most important principles for him is building reputation.
Yeah,
and how easy it is for it to crumble. How long it takes to build one that people can trust and rely on. And but it's different for everyone. It's like yours is like giving a world-class fuck looks like putting together and curating the best party possible.
Yeah. And like all the all the like details to like make it the sound quality and all that kind of stuff.
But mine might not be that necessarily. And we've talked a lot on this trip about running your leg of the race.
Yeah. Which is the whole value of being able to be a network is that we get to have the division of labor and be able to do what we enjoy doing the most, our vocation, and just do that. And then you don't have to do the thing. And then, like, for example, wouldn't want to spend a lot of time like cooking and worrying about that, but we have a friend that would love to do nothing else more. Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't make sense for him to be doing the freestyles and the philosophy, and I'm cooking. It just makes him to do what he wants to do, and I'll do what I want to do, and then we all contribute and run our own leg of the race.
One of my mentors said, this is sales related, but why be one person doing 100% of the work when you can be 100%? 100 people doing 1% of the work. It's a lot better. It's like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
You know it takes leadership and communication skills and giving people the benefit of the doubt, and you know, finding the right people that have the right intentions.
The one thing with Santa Teresa that it especially came into play, that's a little like, I understand it, but it's also like it kind of rubs me in a weird way, is that like yesterday I had that space from like 4 to 6 p.m. Mm-hmm. You know, I asked like the artist to come at 3:30 p.m. And I know like Tico time and everything like matters here, but I paid for that space from 4 to 6. So like we started like half an hour late, and I was trying to tell people, hey, let's like, you know, like, let's get it going. Like, oh, like, you know, like, let's be more tranquilo. Sure. Where in Toronto, it's like, hey, you show up on time, you do your thing. Like it's very like structured, where here it's kind of like free flow. But when you're paying for a space and you have a space for a certain amount of time and you shake the person's hand, you're trying to like respect that, but you're also trying to respect your own time, other people's time, but you're also not trying to be like intrusive to other people's vibes. So it's like the culture here and my philosophy on like running an event, you know what I mean? Because I'm in business mode in a certain sense as well.
Dude.
But it's like, how do you run that tight ship without offending people?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially
you gotta live with that a bit.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen a bit. People are gonna misinterpret you. Like,
exactly.
And it's not. I mean, you got to do your best to make sure that you're doing your best to communicate what's in your head to the outside world, but you can't go around micromanaging every misinterpretation.
For sure. And I also try not to like, I try not to hang on to things. That's the best part. Just process them and let them go.
Yeah.
And it always like, it helps a lot, because yesterday, like, one of the people came up to me and was like, oh, you need like chill. We'll start when we start. And then later came up to me and was like, hey, I'm sorry we were so late. Like, it was not respectful. And I never said anything that it was disrespectful. I think they just came to that conclusion themselves. But at that point, when I told them, hey, let's start, I wasn't that like, okay, you know, it's a little bit late, let's get going. But later, I didn't even care. But I think they kind of came to that conclusion on their own. So it's like, it's really cool, because at that point, I processed and let it go. So when I got the apology, it was just like, it's like extra brownie points for me. Of like, hey, they get it. You know what I mean? They're not ignorant. They're just like, that's just the way it is sometimes, you know?
Well, it reminds me that different cultures are different. Right?
Exactly.
Like we met this German guy when we were leaving San Jose on our way to La Fortuna, and we were waiting for the bus. And he was like German, so he's like checking his watch, and he's like, "Why?" It was like it's supposed to leave at 8:45, and it was like 9 o'clock, and he's like, "When is this bus supposed to get here?" And the guy's like, the guy that was like the local, he's like, yeah, it leaves at 8:45, and it was 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
it hasn't even shown up yet, and he was just freaking out.
Yeah,
and so it's like, they call it Tico time.
Tico time.
That's the Pura Vida.
What's the Tico stand for?
Local
in Spanish.
Yeah,
I don't
Tico.
know if that's.
I don't know.
They call it Tico stuff.
Tico time.
I'm not sure where it comes from.
Oh.
Yeah.
Isn't like a Tico and a Tika, like Tico is like a local man, and Tika is a local.
That's an interesting point though, because you had already internalized it and let it go, and then it's like, instead of forcing it on somebody, letting them come to the conclusion themselves.
Man, I've been having such like mystical experiences here in this place of just like having this feeling that I don't need to force it and don't need to try, and like being uncomfortable not trying and going after certain things I want, and then just surrendering to like it's gonna come instead of going and get it. And it just fucking kept happening. I couldn't believe it. And it was like, holy shit,
dude, here you can manifest something and it'll happen the next day. Literally.
I was talking to Isabel about that. She said something she's noticed with her and her friends, Madeline and McKenna, is that they just like keep asking for what they want, and then it shows up almost instantly.
No, like that's like literally that what fast. It literally just was happening.
Like I had that conversation with her over a margarita last night, and then maybe 5 minutes later, Ian's like, "Yo, bro, the guys are gonna let us stay at their place tonight." And it was like less than a minute. Less than a minute. We were looking for somewhere to stay. We didn't have anywhere to stay.
Like what? Yeah. Like there's the energy. Like we think it's just all up to us, and it's not. because the things are working for you in your favor, because we're not separate from it. We are part of the ecosystem. Whereas we think there's everything and then there's us, but we're a part of it. So it's not just our frontal, like waking consciousness that's working in our favor.
Yeah.
Like there's things happening beyond we don't need to, in the same way you're not controlling the blood in your veins right now, and you're not controlling your heart beating and your breath.
Yeah. But I think one thing you do control is what you put out there. I feel like once you have a lot of love in your heart, you're sincere, you're genuine, and you try to do things like just for the greater good of yourself and others, there's this like kind of spotlight, which I haven't felt before, which I feel more than ever. There's a spotlight that holds you accountable. It's like it has like karma principles and manifestation principles. Those are the two. It's like if you do something like wrong, it'll come to bite you in the ass. And I've thought like, oh, I skipped the karma of this thing, and then like 2 weeks later, as I'm thinking I skipped, I get rear-ended.
And there's something about there's something psychological that has nothing to do with the external of when you know you did the right thing, or as when you know you didn't do the wrong thing, or you did the wrong thing, it implicates to you either consciously or subconsciously that you don't like you can't trust yourself, and you don't have faith that the being as good as you can is probably the best thing you can do. Yeah. And then that manifests its way in terms of your confidence. Like Jim Rohn, I think, who was a fan of tipping, and it's a little convoluted because it's more of the American culture of tipping, which is so big, where they're like really, really big on it. And I think he's probably more into it than he should. Yeah. Okay. But he also said, he's like, you should tip a lot, not even for them, because when you don't tip, when you think about tipping and you don't, you feel that, and that stays with you. Yeah. So he's like, and that introduces a whole other thing of like, I mean, you don't have to have that opinion, and that's a little strong, but just in general, do the right thing.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And you feel better about yourself.
Yeah, and part of that spotlight, the second like kind of pillar of it is that manifestation. It's like if you're holding yourself accountable and you're doing things right, and, you know, for the good of yourself and others, and you're a genuinely good person, you know, like down to the core, is you imagine things, and then like that spotlight, like somehow there's other spotlights that become like stepping stones to get you there. But all the intentions leading up to that final stone, which is that manifestation coming through, have to be done with those same intentions. Yeah. So if you start the journey with good intentions, and somehow you get caught up, you need like a person that you know is not good and, you know, is wrong for that situation, and you try to go in that way, the spotlight gets dimmer and dimmer, and you lose that middle stone that gets you to the final one.
Well, yeah, because it's when you do something that only serves yourself and doesn't serve anyone else, it reinforces your idea of separateness. Yeah. That you're there's everything and then there's you, and that's feeling like you're alone is what makes you feel all the anxiety. But when you realize you're more than you are, in the same way we talked about with the collective effervescence at the dance floor where everyone's doing the thing, whereas now you feel so good because you're closer to what you actually are, because you're not identified with just yourself as Shay, Jonathan, Ian, individual person, but I'm identified with this entire crowd and this entire group. And now you're literally identifying with more energy. Yeah. So, so it's closer to source or your true self, which is everything, which is non-duality.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's one thing to talk about it, and it's another thing to live it. And you're a very generous guy.
Yeah.
So you're definitely living it.
I got my mom to thank for that. And, she's always been the type of person where if people come over, she will eat less food so other people can eat more food. She'll always be the last one to eat. She'll always be like up and serving people. Like at dinner, she's up serving people and cleaning up. It's like people have told her almost at everybody, come sit down and eat, sit down and eat. So it's like, I got her to thank for that. My dad is also the same way, you know, so.
It's like that service mentality. Like
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, those things stick with you. So gotta thank the big guys who, you know, coach me through life.
Yeah, there's a certain level of like faith that it takes to give and trust that everything's going to be good, and you don't need to keep that like what you're giving. And then by giving that is the faith, you testing your faith and like deciding I'm going to choose faith, and now you have faith. Yeah. And then now you're going to do well because you have faith. Yeah,
exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's like the actual action of giving, like the process of creating your faith.
Yeah. And it comes back like energy can't be destroyed. It's only transferred. So if I take a little piece of candy or a little piece of gum or a Jello shot and I give it to my cleaning lady, or I take like a necklace, or I give a little card or a sticker to people, that is energy that they hold on to. And because of that, we have a relationship of like that energy got exchanged. When that happens, me as like a species of like human, me as like a genetically enhanced person, you know, I'm now giving that energy to someone else. So we're connected forever.
And it's like, this guy gave me this shirt.
Yeah.
Yo, Pascal Satori.
Pascal
Satori.
You know?
I think we're planning on hitting dinner tonight at Satori.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah.
Is Pascal coming?
Yeah.
I don't
Pascal's
know.
coming
I don't
home.
know, actually.
What?
You going?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going. Yeah, you can't come?
I can't come.
Yeah, I know we have a couple. We got to tell Max, and you tell John and Emily. Anyway, we'll figure that out.
Yeah, well, we got the young kids. We're going to take them to dinner at least. Yeah, but
The young kids.
Yeah, they're nice guys.
Oh, those the guys who let you guys crash?
Two young Costa Rican dudes.
Cool.
They're bros. They've been teaching me Spanish. They brought me the different, they were talking trash about the soda that you love. They were like, nah, that's not the soda. They walked me all the way past El Patio to that one soda that we went to, and they brought me up to the rooftop.
The rooftop one.
Yeah, the rooftop, and they bought me lunch. So.
You want to go there after? No, let's go to, or we can go to the original soda one more time. Anyway, we can figure out our lunch plans.
Oh my God.
I only have one other question for me. I was just wondering, for me anyway. I was just wondering, is like.
So I think I'm gonna get chicken.
My only question is,
both of you guys rum and coke, no rum. No rum. All right.
Sin Azúcar.
Sin Azúcar.
Oh, sin rum.
Sin Azúcar.
Sin rum. Sin Azúcar y rum. Y puedes dar uno Coca-Cola.
The lady is like, what are you talking about?
Sin Azúcar y sin rum.
I was just wondering, ¿qué es tu sueño? What's your dream? Because I know you're here in Santa Teresa. You're doing the thing. What's happening next for you, man?
I think my dream is to make a powerful impact in people's lives, whatever it may be, whether it's through music. I hope it's through music, whether it's through company, through training people. I had the pleasure of, when I ran my own company, of like training people and hiring people. And what happened is we took like ordinary guys like off the street and we turned them into like really good salespeople. Sharks, like, sharks. So to see that transformation, to see like somebody just come out with like no confidence, knowing nothing, to like and sales, as you guys know, just impacts you and like it hits you like deep into all aspects of your life. Yeah. So does music. So does like anything that kind of
should be more grateful to sales.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, sales is a great fucking battlefield.
We wouldn't be here, that's for sure.
Anything with the culture that deep, just like it has so much.
Gives you integrity.
Yep.
Gives you communication
so for
skills.
Me to be able to be in a position of like leadership and management again, where I can choose like, hey, you want to learn music, come onto my like label, or you want to come onto my company, I'll teach you. And like just seeing that transformation, seeing what a man's made of, that would make me extremely happy. And I used to wake up so happy. I used to 12-14 hour days, but I used to wake up and sleep like a champ because I knew what we were doing was for the greater good, So being able to impact the greater good and the bottom line, that's what I hope to be my legacy,
And then the thing, I think, and then it's like, I think contribution, we've talked about this before, but I think contribution is also like non-linear.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like what I'm doing, like reading and stuff all day, which is like just for me right now, isn't gonna like directly show up in the sense of like, I'm not building the well for a water in some town, but this is where it's like running your leg of the race. And it's like, obviously you're going to do that. You're going to hold doors open and be good for your friends. But in terms of like, not everyone needs to run a nonprofit. You know what I mean? So it's like you can be selfish and lock yourself in a room and do music and not help anyone else for the 2 years. And then all of a sudden you make a music that fucking inspires the guy who was burnt out as a surgeon. He goes in and saves the kid's life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's all interconnected. So it's like trusting what's in your nature and what you have to contribute.
I would also say that all the reading you're doing, like I know you described it as like building a well in some village, but like you've produced some really quality clips and podcasts, and the conversations you have with people are very deep and meaningful, and changes people's lives. And like as an example, that speech you wrote, the poem you wrote. Like that's changed so many people's lives, man. So like reading is directly contributing to.
Yeah, true. That was the one I told him when I told him reading.
That was was that El Patio finale.
The El Patio finale.
I can't believe I missed that party. I went to get a dentist appointment in San Jose, and then these guys were partying at El Patio. This was the sardine party where Mike said he doesn't even live there, and so it ended. You guys cleaned up. And then y'all were hanging out
with a family set.
Nice.
And we said, and then we got fucking emotional.
Yeah. And I think part of just going back to that was like, when we're talking about just meeting people and like, you know, we're brothers for life is, for me, it took, again, I stress this a lot because it took me like 2-3 years to meet a community of people back in Toronto where I feel safe to do psychedelics and to cry with, like to really express. I don't know. I've always had this thing of like, it's not hard for me to cry, but it's hard for me to cry in front of people.
Sure.
So to be here for 4 weeks and, you know, I didn't really know, I knew Mike, but I didn't know him that well. I don't really know anybody in that El Patio house. For me to get so comfortable and to have a night like that where there was so much like, you know, there was tension, there was like excitement, there was like anger, there was just so much.
And then there was the aspect of we had just gone to war. We also like went to war together because we avoided this collateral party and got all the people out successfully and everything, the anxieties we were worried about, we fought off and we succeeded. So it was like we just won battle. So there was like this like celebratory reverie, like we fought off the invaders and the city is safe. Like that's what like let's feast in the Great Hall with champagne. Fucking
So finding those soldiers took me a long time. So within 30 days to like have, you know, be in that, you know, the round table of nights, you know, where I'm so comfortable to like, I cried like 3 times that night. I just poured my heart out. And then it was just all at one point before you told me that story, all that energy from the past 30 days, the happiness, the tension, the work, the love, everything just came together and it was all there. And it just came out in tears, but I didn't know how to like get that closure. You know what I mean? So it was like the story I needed, but it was also the story I didn't think that I was going to get. And it just came and it was like, when you were talking, there was literally like, there was so many things, like things people could have said or they could have talked about or events that would have occurred that would not have had my undivided attention. But somehow the way you started talking and the words and the message, you actually like the emotion just like sat in the background. They were still hovering, but you had my undivided attention. So that's so powerful to be able to take somebody from that traumatic state. It wasn't actually trauma, but there's so much energy behind it that it felt like a traumatic experience.
Overwhelming anyway.
Overwhelming, in a sense. But then you had my undivided attention. It's so hard to get somebody who's in that state to just be like, okay, pay attention to me completely now. But you didn't ask that. It just happened. So you know what I mean? So I'm so blessed and fortunate, to have had an environment where I could cry my heart out and to be able to like get closure from something so beautiful and powerful. So
true, man. Thanks, man.
You earned the shit out of that jersey.
Thanks, man. I'm glad I could help and thank you. I appreciate the words.
It's been an absolute pleasure getting to know you boys.
Santa Teresa 2021. Oh my God. You realize it's going to be like, okay, how old are we going to be when we're in our 70s? We'll be like,
we're going to be in our 70s.
Oh, what year will it be? It'll be about the 50 years. It'll be about the 70s, the late 70s or something like that. So imagine it's like 1974. How fucking different things would be like. 2074. Yo, it's gonna be we're a little dehydrated. Ahead in 1974. So 2074. It's gonna be 2074. You'd be like, you remember that time in Santa Teresa 2021? Yeah. When I was doing this voice, let's pull up the laptop. You can see me doing it right now. That's leaving a little Easter egg for you there, time traveler. Enjoy the rest of your trip. I hope I'm not watching this alone and you guys are dead. And I'm fucking like, you guys are so fun and I'm having FOMO.
There's no doubt.
You think?
Yeah.
Why?
I'm having so many mystical experiences these days, bro.
No, dude, most of today it was just with weed. I've been having mystical experiences with just weed. No, if I can sit in fucking nirvana from a little flower and I can just do that, I'd say I fucking figured it out.
Yeah. Don't do drugs.
Like what?
Don't do drugs.
I would never do a drug.
Stay in school.
That's right. Call your friends. Tell your mom you love them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
That was fun,
Yeah.
This whole thing was fun.
Yeah. What's your favorite memory? Like, okay, forget that because you don't have to get into judging which one, but what's a top of mind story that we haven't talked about yet that blew away your Santa Teresa and you can go after if you have one? What?
What are we doing for time?
It's 4:26.
Yeah, I think if you got one, that's rock and roll.
Yeah.
Okay. One of my favorite memories. Costa Rica, Santa Teresa.
Santa Teresa, that's what we're saying.
I think the day when we did the photos.
Oh, the mushroom day.
Yeah, the mushroom day.
The mushroom day. That was okay. So that was when I knew you were a good dude, which I told you that night.
Oh, that was so.
That was so sick because I told you about that, and then I remember I was I was kind of like hungover that day, and I was kind of tired, and I was late getting to the pre-drink for the mushrooms, and I had some coffee, and then I'm like walking down the street, and I just see you fucking rumbling down with this guy on the ATV on this dirt road. And then you were like, yeah, he heard you were reading. We're like, all right, let's go. Like, just your like idea of like we should do this to doing it is like it's just done.
Yeah.
It's just he's not here. Okay, let's go. Boom.
Yeah, we're at
like there's no
I
wobble,
show up.
There's no
he's like,
wobbling.
Where's Ian? I'm like, all right, 1 second. And he said he's reading. He's like, what do you mean he's reading? You're fucking on the ATV.
Comes out, we get up.
Seconds later.
Then we all like 5 to 10 of us cheers mushrooms together.
Yeah,
do mushrooms and walk on the beautiful beach. I remember I was like walking and it felt like literally not only an oasis, but a paradise, like the mythological abstraction of what we mean by an oasis, in the sense that like it was literally but like realizing that is reality, that we're just on this like floating rock and the water's just coming in. It's hot in the sun, everyone's laughing, and you can hear the birds. And I think we had music playing, and it was just like unbelievable.
Yeah, I think the moment where I like kind of knew like, man, we're such good people and we create such good energy, trusting energy, when we're taking the photo with the coconut vendor, and I just told him that I'm like peeking on a lot of mushrooms, and we're taking this photo, and he goes like this and hands me his machete. I'm like,
nice.
I just told you I'm fucking peeking on mushrooms.
Nice.
Like, machete.
Nice.
And then like that just shows like we create a good vibe. We're so trusting. This guy's like, I should give this guy my machete. You know, like that just doesn't happen.
Always peeking on a mushroom. That is dude in the room. Oh
yeah.
She want to stick to me like glue. Hey, I don't really care whose shoe. Take it off quick. Take it off. Yeah. I'll be like, yeah, okay.
That was a fun day. Man.
Yeah.
You were dead set on winning that thing too. Eh? We're like, yo,
did we win?
Yeah, it doesn't.
I think we did win.
We did?
Yeah.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
I never heard about it since.
I was really excited to like actually just.
Do you have the photos of with our asses out?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's on the group.
I mean,
I really want to see the comparison. I want to do a slideshow of like, this is their photo, this is our photo. It was so fun.
Yeah, we literally took group nudes, dude.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Kevin bench pressed Emily at the gym.
That was funny.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Funny. I remember when you went inside of the gym, and like I stayed outside with Emma and Elric and them, and like there was a tree right beside us, and like all three of us just turned to it and we're holding on to it and just looking at the tree, just like.
Yeah,
that's all there is to say and all there is to do right now. We're actually legitimately
barks are a trip when you're on mushrooms. Yeah, for sure.
Barks,
like a tree bark.
Yeah.
It just like it like just blends into each other. You know?
The trees. The mystical experience I've had is with the trees, man. They fucking look so alive. Like I can see I see it not like you think it's still, but it's not completely still. Like it's breathing. It's an organism. Like it's lit. And I was like, holy fuck.
Dude, have you seen the plantain flower? So what I didn't know is a plantain tree is like there's the plantains, and on the other side of the tree there's this thing that like hangs from like kind of like like a string, and then at the end there's just like purple, like it's a circle, and at the end it comes to a point. And then what happens is the girl was telling us, Victoria was saying, the plantains are ready because when the flower opens up and like slowly the petals fall out. But it's so beautiful when it's like fully together, like the circle and the point. Yeah. When it opens up, it starts to look kind of ugly. And when it's like completely finished, there's 3 trees. One was done, one was like ripe, and one was like halfway between. And you just see them get uglier and uglier as the flowers open. But the ironic part is like when it's at its ugliest, it's time to eat the actual thing that comes out of them. Right. But such a trip, man.
Just like babies.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah. All right, shall we?
Yeah, good stuff, man.
Great stuff, boys.
Let's go.
Whoa, that was a good pop, wasn't it? Holy shit. Oh, man. Santa Teresa 2021. What's up, baby?
Let's go.
Are you?
You already know.
How do we get out of here?
Are you dumb? Dude.